what's up YouTube? This is Phileas Fox. Welcome to another episode of Talking Bollocks. We've got our regular mainstays here. We got Pete.
Cheers.
And we got Mark.
Cheers.
Hola Marco. And we've got new to the show. We've got Eric today joining us. And this is our first show since the inauguration. And we kind of did this on purpose.
Bullshit.
We did this on purpose because we wanted the dust to settle, because there's a lot, and there still is, a lot of bullshit going on right now. You know, stuff like the Fauci extradition to Russia. I mean, this is some nonsense coming out, right? I mean, there's even talk of a Trump meme coin. Did you guys hear about that? You know?
Yeah.
Oh no, that really happened.
Yeah.
So personally, I think that was very inappropriate, right, for Trump to. Like,
Yes.
It was 3 days. It happened on a Saturday, I think, and it was 3 days before the inauguration. He like drops this like meme coin out there, right? So,
Yeah.
did you buy it? And you wouldn't have bought it, right?
No.
Even from an investment point, no.
Nope.
Nope.
Not gonna do it.
I know you
No,
didn't.
I don't like those types of
The
coins.
shit coins. Yeah. What about you? No shit coins.
No.
So none of us bought the shit coin. I kind of heard about it on Saturday midday or something, 1 o'clock or something, and it was up at $25. So I was compelled to look at what it launched at, right? And what I can gather, it launched at about $8. So in a few hours, it had kind of 3x, and then I kind of kept an eye on it. It went up to by the end of that day, I think it was at 35. Then it went to 50 and then 64, and I think it peaked at 72. I looked this morning because I knew I was coming in to do this. It's down at 34, but it's kind of stabilized at right in the mid 30s. So, but I just think it was it's typical Trump though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't give a shit, right? I think everybody on the planet would be like, no, that's not a good idea, dude. You're just getting ready to take office. He's fuck it, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But the CBDCs, does that lend into that, Mark? Do you think is that a complete? You're asleep, aren't you?
What is the CBDC?
Mark, wake up!
What is the CBDC?
The centralized bank digital currency, right? That everyone's talking about, right?
I didn't.
Yeah.
I was left out of that conversation.
So a good while ago, during the build up to the election, he met with CEO of BlackRock. The Fink, right?
Okay.
So he met with Fink, and all the Bitcoiners got crazy. They were like, "Yay, fucker! It's gonna be, the strategic reserve is gonna be Bitcoin." And I was like, "No way! This is him doing something either for the government as like a centralized currency, or something on his own." And it's turned out that's what he's doing. He's doing it. He did it for himself. You know what I mean?
Imagine that.
But I do think it was inappropriate. What do you think, Mark? Do you think that was an appropriate move for him?
Was
Inappropriate. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like his sneakers, his Bible, all that stuff. It cheapens the brand. Yeah.
Well, to the Democrats, it couldn't get any cheaper, right?
Right, yes.
We went from 99-cent market or whatever down to
Right,
like this
yes.
swap meet.
It cheapens him, and by association, cheapens the country. And that's the part that I don't care if he cheapens himself.
Right.
He can't get any cheaper as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
But it's not a good optic for the country.
Now, I know you're not a big crypto guy, so probably not got much input on this. I mean, do you think it was a good move for him or a bad move?
I think it was a bad move because I think it there was a rumor back in the 2000s about the Fed One currency that came out that was supposed to come out to be kind of a centralized currency, for a reserve, and it never came to fruition. I think just a bad idea to try to change gears.
Yeah. But anyway, so I mean, I wanted to bring that up because it just cracked me up when he was meeting with Fink and all that the Bitcoiners were just taking that instantly and he was kind of like mentioning Bitcoin, but he didn't even know what he was talking about. He's, yay, crypto! And like he went to like the Bitcoin bar. What's it called? The Bitcoin bar in New York. Sorry guys, I forgot your name. But
Virtual cocktails?
Yeah, exactly. But he literally did a thing there where he did a Bitcoin transaction and he kept calling it crypto,
Oh,
and everybody who's into Bitcoin, we don't call it crypto, you know what I mean? So
Well, what made it even worse was what was the previous most talked about shitcoin?
Doge?
No.
I would have said Doge,
Yeah.
No, the Haktui girl, her coin.
Oh, her
Oh,
coin.
yeah.
You want to follow that?
So right on the back of that shit, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Where's she going? Is she in jail yet? I don't know where she is. You know what I mean? I stole her hat though.
Yeah.
I stole her hat. So I think that's all you can say about Trump and his shitcoin, right?
I got nothing to say.
But a lot has been going on. We've got a lot to unpack on this show. We'll try and keep it quick. But I think one of the biggest ones for me is the border, right? So the border. Now, even as a Democrat, you have to admit the last 4 years was just nonsense with the open border policy, right?
I would say the last 40 years, but yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely been.
I don't peg it on that.
It's definitely not been good for a while.
Yeah.
But the last 4 years has been brutal, right?
I heard somewhere the last 4 years, it was the largest non-war caused migration ever in the history of the world.
After it went on for so long and the Americans weren't doing anything about it, i.e. the Biden administration, once people were like, holy shit, let's just go to Mexico and we'll just walk across the border. He went after that pretty quickly, right? We already knew Tom Homan was already going to be taking charge of that side of things. But like day one, it was like boom, he shut down their app, their asylum seekers app, you know.
Right.
And the thing is, you know, all the Mexicans were pissed off about that, and it isn't actually for Mexicans. It's for asylum seekers, right?
Right.
No one in Mexico is getting persecuted, right?
Yeah, no, Mexico's plan was if you come in our southern border, we're just going to let you walk to the northern border.
Well, that's the
as long as this is not, you do not, stop and go.
So he brought back the remain in Mexico thing.
Yes.
That's purely about asylum seekers, right? Because when you leave it, when you are that threatened in a nation or your home nation, and you want to seek asylum, there's actually rules about it. And one of the rules is the first port of call, right? The first place you get to. Now, if they refuse you, you can then go on. But if they're willing to take you in, that's where you're going to seek asylum, right?
Right.
That's why we have the remain in Mexico. If you let them in Mexico, they're fucking your problem.
Right.
They're not. You're not passing them up to us.
Yeah.
So the remain in Mexico is a huge thing. And the president, what's her name?
Something bomb.
Cherry Bomb? Claudia Cherry Bomb. First woman Mexican president, first Jewish Mexican president, right? So she's a landmark girl, I guess. But I don't know much about her, to be honest. Don't know how to say her name, so I'm just going to call her Cherry Bomb. But so she's like, oh yeah, you can't do that. We're going to still send them up. No, we're literally on the border. And remember, I don't know, a couple of shows ago, I was the one sitting here saying, we're going to man the border. Oh, you guys can't do that. You can't do that. Guess what's happening? 1,500 troops already sent to the border. 500 from Pendleton.
Yeah.
500 from San Diego. I don't know if they're going to be at the TJ border or if they're going down to New Mexico or Texas or whatever.
Well, they're not actually walking the border with
They're-
weapons.
they're gonna be
doing
quick reaction.
They're doing logistics and transportation.
I think they're going to be utilized as quick reaction. So, like, if there's an issue, they're getting sent out to it. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's more
Yeah.
logistics and transportation.
Well, there's also a number of 10,000 that is supposed to be getting ready to go to the border, because the border is a big, huge issue. You know, he's classified it as a state of emergency, in which now he can do this stuff because he's classified it as.
He's trying to justify it that way. Yeah, I think the reason they're not standing on the border with guns right now is there are legal issues.
It's because I'm not in control. If I was in control, we would be there. dude.
And thank God he isn't in complete control either. So they're doing what they can legally do now, and they're
Well, he shut down their rap. He reinstated the remain in Mexico. What else has he done for the border? He's branded the cartels as terrorists.
That's a big one.
It's huge.
That's huge.
It's huge because everywhere. Most of the drugs come through the southern border. Most of the drugs out in America, the fentanyl, everything else, it's coming through the southern border. But people don't talk about this, and I think we brushed on it last time. The human trafficking that goes on through our southern border is absolutely insane. You might know about that, right? You work in that kind of field, right? Or you did.
San Diego was the most trafficking, it's the biggest hub of human trafficking.
It's sex trafficking, like minors, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane. And they're coming into America. I'm going out, obviously, right? But they're coming in.
most of them through the border checkpoints. Isn't that correct? I thought.
Yeah,
I read that.
they'll even fly them in. They can fly them in. Promise them like nanny jobs, modeling jobs, stuff like that.
I mean, say they're not. It's you think of they're coming in, they're all fleeing across the Rio Grande. It's like the drugs. They're all just driving across the border.
Well, I've heard that, and I think it's the drugs that we know about. So of course they're going to be caught at the checkpoints, right?
Right.
at the regular crossings. But all of the ones that we don't know about, they're coming in other ways.
Well,
So-
I mean, some of these drugs are so concentrated now, it doesn't take that,
Well, you don't even have to go through customs when you fly in a private jet, right?
When you land in the States, you do.
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. If you come from like,
Minnesota.
if you go Minnesota, yeah.
Like everyone should leave Minnesota.
If you come from TJ and you land in El Paso or San Diego, customs will go to wherever the where the private jets land, and they'll clear customs.
But they would still have an opportunity to get rid of a couple of people.
They probably could. Depends on how slow customs.
Well, but
is.
they're also landing in some field somewhere.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
fine.
Well,
Yeah.
that's different.
But you're not going to stop that, right? I mean, that still needs to be addressed. But
Yeah.
I mean, man on the border is not going to stop planes coming over or dinghies coming. I mean, we've got a massive problem with boats coming on our shore and they're just running up the beach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see videos all day long. I mean, it's happening all the time. But yeah, so I love the closing the border thing. And I've got nothing against Mexicans, that's for sure. Mexicans are the hardest working people I know. They're beautiful people. They're really chill. But they obviously have an element as well, the cartel environment, right? And the gang members and everything else. But for me, it was just all these radicals who were coming through Mexico to get into the States.
Right.
And they were just had an open door, just let's go through, and then they end up wherever they are. Then they're setting up cells all across America, It's a real thing. It's an invasion.
They're already set up.
Yeah. Well, they've been doing it, like he said, it's not just the last 4 years. It's been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
America really needs to get strict on this stuff, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it used to be, it was kind of a wink.
Says the non-citizen.
No, it was a wink and a nod. I mean, it would be primarily Mexicans coming across the border to work, and a lot of time, they used to go back and forth because it wasn't regulated as much, and then it started to be, it was harder to go back, so they wound up staying and just But when it got to the terrorism and the people coming in, like I said, in southern Mexico, anybody in the world going, well, the way to get into America is to go through Mexico. Then it becomes more of an
I know a lot of
issue to deal with.
Vietnamese who actually come in through Canada.
Yeah,
they're a bit loosey-goosey, I
That
guess.
used to be you're right.
And all the Vietnamese, even though that we had an agreement with the Vietnamese,
Yeah.
right? Because after the war and shit, right? But they were all coming in through Canada and then slipping down into America.
Yeah, there's a big population in Vancouver.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But anyway, what else was burning? The DEI is a big one for me because I think that's an absolute crock of shit, right? So, didn't he?
So what's a crock of shit about?
Huh?
What's the crock of shit?
Well, it was discrimination. 100% discrimination. DEI is just discrimination
Against,
anyone who's not a minority, basically.
well, do you want to discriminate? What's your rule? Is there people you can't
No, it should be
discriminate against?
it should be merit, which is what they're doing now. I'm not hiring some black lesbo midget just because she checks a few boxes when this guy, white guy, or Mexican guy, or Indian guy, whatever he is 10 times more qualified.
Right.
I'm not checking boxes.
You know,
and so DEI is a bunch of
Well,
bullshit.
most of people agree with that, and most of those rules are gone. That there's not a preference given to, we've weeded most of that out.
Are you kidding me? The DEI for the last 10 years has been a nightmare.
Yeah, I could give you an example of I won't say
Camel toe.
I won't say I won't say the organization, but I will say that there was an organization that had a process where
No, this is a show where we say the organization.
He can't for
liability reasons. But they actually threw.
I'll say it then.
They threw away a test, so disparaged groups who didn't pass a certain part of the test could go further on in the promotion process.
And we've talked about it. And then they just fail later on,
Again,
more dramatically.
There's no disagreement that there were abuses and it swung very far, but the idea of non-discrimination, which I think was the goal, purely just to stop.
It was initially, right?
Well, and it still is.
I disagree
No,
with
it's
that. No,
completely
the
gone.
goal
It's not-
completely changed. It became control.
No, I
Well,
disagree.
anyway, the good news
I
is
didn't think-
he sent them all home. He's still paying them. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
He's still paying
Right.
them, but I don't know how long that'll last.
Yeah.
right? He is paying them, but he's sending them all home, and he's firing people left, right. The one I know is the Coast Guard Admiral. She got
the
fired.
problem he's running into, and also with the work at home, is again, it's the way he wrote these executive orders. There's no fine tuning whatsoever. DEI also includes A at the end, which a lot of accessibility people are tied in with this notion that, so it's going to harm some of the advances we've made with accessibility people.
Right, I agree.
Because the laws have not been written considering all the ramifications. He writes executive orders like he speaks. He just says, I'm going to ban this.
But let's be honest, right?
And it's just sensationalism. It's going to go immediately to the court.
The inauguration day, he's signing he's signing a dozen at least, right?
Yeah.
And it's
Wow, he's answering questions.
I know it's kind of fun to watch.
With his Sharpie, because he doesn't
have
the fine control to
Have you
use
seen
an
his
actual
signature?
pen.
It takes like about a minute and a half for every signature.
It is a cool looking signature.
But it doesn't look.
I wish I had a
It doesn't look anything like Donald J. Trump, though. You know what I mean? It starts with an A and it doesn't got a T in it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But what we all I'm sure we're all aware, right, that these executive orders they're certainly not laws passed through Congress, right, and they don't have anywhere near the oomph and the power that a law passed through Congress will. So a lot of these things will just get either bogged down in court or just completely rejected. You know what I mean?
Well, wait a second. People have a misunderstanding about what an executive order is. An executive order only applies to governmental agencies under the executive branch.
Yes.
And he is the chief executive, so he has a lot of leeway there.
In the
Every
executive
president
branch,
does. And that's all executive orders are.
They're
They're
still
not
gonna get
creating
bumped
law.
up.
They don't apply to private citizens.
I reckon
push
half
back
of what he's saying, that they, maybe even more, will ultimately not come to fruition.
Well, for instance, they were talking about everybody's got to come back to work. Back to work, right? Is the big thing.
Again, like you just said.
Well, there's a huge
government
percentage
workers.
that he didn't make the definition between people who remote work because of COVID and whatnot, and all the federal employees that were hired as teleworkers. They don't have an office to go back.
They never did work.
They never did work.
Or maybe were they hired during COVID?
They'll work that out. It's not as big an issue as I think.
Or there are, people in the service, people, wives of military people are working remotely because they're in Germany or somewhere else.
Yeah, it's not going to affect people like that.
Well, a lot of the hookers work out of home, right?
Yeah. But the way
and remotely.
That's my point. The way he wrote the orders is sensationalism, knowing that's going to be challenged, and with not any consideration of the fine tuning. And again, I don't personally want a bombastic president who acts like that, acts like a child, and that spouts things. I don't think that's a good optic for the country.
I work with a lot of executives of companies, and most of them are like that. They're big idea people. They say, all right, I have this idea, we can do this better. And they say, all right, let's do this.
The minutia is not for them, right?
No, it's up to the people underneath them to say, well, we can do it this way, and this isn't going to work. And this is what he expects as president. He expects people to say, all right, this part we can do, this part we can't do. That's for the people underneath them.
Right now.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Well, and the Congress that wouldn't come to the office to vote and stuff. I mean, we're paying these guys not to do their job.
No, yeah, that's
so especially elected officials, they all got to go back. They all have offices. They all have staff members.
Serve the people, right?
And they all get pensions better than anybody else does. They get better health care, even though we got to go through some type of exchange here. So they need to go. They need to go back to work. And if they don't do their job, they should get their pay deducted.
Yeah. And I mean, they're talking about huge office buildings, government buildings that have been vacant for so long that squatters are living in them.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, this is absolute nonsense. I mean, and you can't get anything done. Court dates are like months out. Try and get something done with the CIS right now, the Immigration Services, especially now, right? But I mean, it's like crazy. I mean, you just can't get anything done. DMV was they say they're like, oh, we're like a year behind. No, you're not. You just fucking got to go back to work, ladies and bastards. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you touched on the point that I want to bring up. We have an incredible amount of empty office space that the federal government is paying lease every single month on. And if you want to get rid of that, which I think we all should be in favor of, wasting money, right? You pretty much have to get everybody back in the office, right? So we find out, okay, do we need this office space? Do we need that office space? And how do you know unless you get people back in the office, right?
Yeah, Dodge is gonna like kind of figure all that out, right? I don't know how effective Dodge is going to be honest. Hopefully, as effective as
well. Even if
it's an advisory board,
minimally, and
it's all effective.
It's billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Or you could use that office space to empty all the immigrants out of the hotels that should be paying taxes, rather than us paying the money into the hotels and put them in the government offices.
Yeah, they loaded.
The U.S. immigration law is that if you come into the country and you're not an asylum seeker, right? If you're not a refugee or if you're just a regular immigrant, you have to be self-sufficient. And if we're putting them up in hotels, then obviously they're not self-sufficient. So, adios.
It's crazy. Some of the money. Did you hear about that one in San Francisco where they were going to give all the trans?
Oh yeah.
They were giving them like $900. What was it called?
It
was gift or something.
Yeah, basic subsistence or something like that.
Just for being a transgender, you were going to get this like huge chunk of money. It was something like $900 a week. It was crazy, man.
It's more than the fire victims.
Yeah.
I know, exactly. Yeah, that was a week. They only got a one-time payment. You know what I mean? Fires are still happening, right, in San Diego. Someone's setting fires right now.
Yeah,
this is not homeless people. Someone is setting fires. Maybe it's to blame the homeless people so that we can get something on the books to because we need to take care of the homeless people, right? Like I've said it all along. All these homeless people that are camped out in front of businesses, the businesses are paying property tax, sales tax, income tax, and they're losing their business because customers are afraid to go to the building.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the taxpayers are getting punished so these fucking lowlights can lie on the ground and just fucking jerk off and do fucking fentanyl all day long. You know what I mean? That one drives me nuts in San Diego, to be honest. California in general.
Yeah.
I don't have a solution. I mean, you still have to understand that most of them are mentally ill. You know, some of them do choose to be on the streets. Some of them are there just because of fucking sheer bad luck. But those people will take a hand up if they get given.
And they will take a tent in an organized camp.
Or a bed in a shelter.
Yeah,
you know,
obviously.
those people want to get off the streets, right? So they're helping themselves.
Yeah.
But there's a massive amount that aren't.
The vast majority are mentally ill and drug addicts.
Drug addicts, yeah.
Or a combination of the two.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's this, either, you want to pay more taxes to fund for treatment for them, or what's the
No, we
answer.
just have to use the taxes we're collecting
Well,
better.
okay, yeah.
And not give trannies free money just because he fucking wants to get in,
Yes, wise use of tax dollars is always something that we're going to argue about. But,
Talking about trannies, the one thing he did was the two genders.
Mm-hmm.
Two genders.
yes, there's always been just two genders.
Oh, look at this. The arts department is saying this.
There are two genders. That doesn't mean that people don't act on a wide spectrum from one to the other. But there are two genders.
But getting money from taxpayer pools because you identify as a fucking llama shouldn't count.
No, if you want to date a llama, that's fine.
Wait, furries don't count?
Do it on furries.
Furries don't count?
Hey, I'm British. If it wasn't for furries, I wouldn't get laid.
Yeah, don't ask, don't tell. What's behind that costume? I don't want it. Yeah.
What else we got? We've got he pulled out of the WHO organization.
Good.
Right?
Time.
And they lost all credibility, didn't they? So did the CDC.
Paris Climate Accord.
Oh yeah, that's another good one. Get out of that nonsense, right? You like that one?
There's need.
There's good and bad.
There's need for a global assessment of what we can do to keep the planet from,
Yeah, assessment's one thing. Paying through the nose.
It was just too costly, right?
Yeah. What they've enacted and how it affects people and tax dollars. Yeah, we can argue that the goal.
It's like going to a farmer's market and paying like $4 for a fucking tomato.
Well, China wasn't part of it, and they are the biggest polluter in the world.
Yeah, they own all the cobalt mines in Africa.
So, Panama Canal. Is it run by China?
I believe it
They've
is.
got their hands on it.
No,
They've got their hands on
They
it.
have a port on either end, which no one objected to them building whatsoever.
Well, see,
Wait,
that's,
on either end of a canal, that doesn't
No,
control the
no,
canal.
no, off either end.
They have a fort on either end of the port.
yeah.
Yeah, no.
Garrisons.
I would say they're way more in control than we would like.
They're making money off of it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well,
They're
that has
shipping a lot
always been a
through.
money maker.
Well, I think wasn't part of the deal when we gave the canal back to Panama is that they would operate it?
yes, it was.
Panama is operating.
It was.
No, but Chinese companies are profiting off of it.
Chinese companies have ports off the coast of either end, and yes, they profit from their running ships through, but that's not controlling the Panama Canal. In fact, we have more control of the. We ship more through. I think by law, there's a certain percentage that's guaranteed.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
That's guaranteed of American ships.
Any
going through.
input on that? I didn't
I
know
don't
that.
really know the
Yeah.
details.
Again, just a sensationalist remark without thought or
Well, it's like
knowledge.
the
Which
one I
is-
found stupid was the Gulf of Mexico, right?
Well, I'm surprised he didn't. I thought it would be the Gulf of Trump. I mean, if you're going to change the name, put a big T on it,
Well-
like everything else.
Well, he did do Mount McKinley back, right?
He,
Oh,
he's
it's
trying
on the
to-
books. It's on the books.
He's trying to do Alaska. Again, for 40 years, they tried to get the name back to the indigenous name. They're all for the indigenous name.
Well, that makes less sense to me than the Gulf of America. I mean, I don't really care about the name,
Yeah.
but when you think about it, it is the Gulf of America, not the Gulf of Mexico. North, Central, and South America, right? We're all America. And I would be surprised if the United States didn't have just as much coastline on the Gulf that Mexico has.
I think they have more.
We have more, I think.
Yeah, they have
Well,
more.
so why is it called?
Yeah.
It's called the Gulf of Mexico because some French guy gave it that name.
Yeah,
Way
well, it's
way
had a
back.
few. It's had a few names over the years. It has.
Yeah.
It was the Gulf of New Spain at one time, way back.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and,
when
and
Mexico
it's
was
yeah,
in
and
Spain.
it's had a bunch of names over the years. So a name change isn't so crazy. I just think it's funny that he
No,
wants to
again,
do it.
it's
You know
just
what I mean?
something he's doing
Yeah,
to twist
yeah.
someone's tit.
Yeah.
He's just messing with Mexico, I think.
It's a diversion. You get some people
Oh,
focused
yeah,
on
yeah.
this, and you do.
Yeah,
meanwhile, you do
absolutely.
the important stuff without them noticing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. What else we got? If no one's got anything pressing to say, I want to talk
don't.
about Zuckerberg getting busted looking at Bezos' wife's tits.
Oh.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
It was like hilarious, dude. He's just like,
He's really stretching his neck.
Oh, yeah, like, you know.
And it was like he was trying to talk to Bezos, but he was like,
It was like hilarious, dude. It just caught his eye, and he was like, "Ooh."
There was another guy behind him also doing the same thing, wasn't
He
there?
was just, I've looked at the
Clinton.
video. He wasn't looking down at her chest. He was kind of looking that way, but not down at her chest. The black guy behind him, right?
Yeah, he was like, "What's going on
here?" Yeah, he wasn't there. But when you see it's like these decals, right?
Right, yeah.
When you freeze frame, you can be like, "Oh, hey," and if you catch my hand like this, it looks like I'm doing decal. You know what I mean? So all the photos are on there. I mean, everyone's been caught doing this all of a sudden.
That was
you know
the
what I mean?
dumbest thing I saw
That's
all
stupid.
week.
Right. Yeah, or people doing stupid faces. You can always
Yeah,
freeze a
yeah,
frame
yeah,
of some
exactly. Yeah.
dumbass face.
Yeah. Like, your videos, your sex face is nasty, man, isn't it?
Mhm. I drool.
Talking about sex faces, Obama is getting a divorce by all accounts. Yeah, I guess he's sick of sucking dick.
Well,
At least,
gonna figure it out
at
for
least
sure.
Michelle's dick anyway, you know what I mean? No, there's a lot of talk about him getting a divorce, and who cares about that? But it will be actually the first kind of presidential divorce.
If that's true.
I mean, it's a lot of talk. There's a lot of
Normally,
talk
they
about
just come to some agreement like
Yeah.
the Clintons have.
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Well, they've had an agreement for years, I think.
Probably. Or
Oh.
the Kennedys had.
Yeah.
But only JFK was in on that agreement.
Yeah.
His wife didn't know about it. It's like, what? I'm not agreeing to this.
So that's the same as Clinton as well, right?
Well, no, I think Hillary was okay with it.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know. You know, he's just the guy who strikes me as a guy who just all he gave a shit about was getting his dick wet. You know what I mean? Everyone liked him. And
Clinton?
Yeah.
Just a good old boy.
I think she was the mover and the shaker in that couple right there. You know what I mean?
She was, but zero personality. Everybody loves
I
him.
think she was evil as hell. You know? She was really.
Yeah.
I mean, don't they have like 45 friends who have died of suicide?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She was mercurial.
Yeah, mercurial. Yeah. So you guys probably know more about this than me. The files on JFK,
Oh, he wants to
RFK, Martin Luther.
release the final reports that they've been holding.
Do you think you're going to see any new truths?
No.
No, I don't either. I mean, you know, I think they've had so long to curate whatever they want us to hear. I don't think it's kind of like smoke and mirrors from Trump. I think, you know what I mean.
The real files are in Area 51 anyway, so it's, you know.
I think the real files got burned years ago. They were shredded. Did they have shredders back then?
Yeah.
They had people just
Undocumented immigrants.
Yeah, there you go.
Shredding papers. You know what I mean?
like from the Passero program.
We just had a little break there to re-top our beers up.
Amen.
And we wanted to talk about the pardons. The J6s, is that a big deal for everybody?
Yeah, it is for me.
Yep.
I think.
Do tell.
Well, I you know, they.
I mean, let's before we do this, let's just say that Biden set the precedence for pardoning people.
The pardon parade.
The pardon parade, right? So now you can say what you want to say.
No,
Because I know you were going to bash on it.
Yeah, well, it's you know, whether it's right to pardon people who committed crimes, injured Capitol Police, killed, you know, police officers, you know, violent crimes in the Capitol, as opposed to the people who are just there, in theory, protesting.
Well, I don't
Yeah,
think
he
they
just-
killed any Capitol Police,
Well,
right? Some Capitol Police died later, maybe due to trauma.
Well,
or
I think
heart
one
attacks,
was
things like
one
this.
was shot, yes, and there was some trauma. I think it
One was
about
shot. That was Ashley Babbitt's the only person I know that was shot.
But anyway, I think there should have been a division in that.
I agree.
think,
I agree. He shouldn't have pardoned
Everybody.
the most violent against people of the perpetrators. But we got to keep in mind that this did not happen in a vacuum. For the prior 4 to 6 years, leftists were taking over entire city blocks. They were attacking Capitol buildings. They were attacking police stations. A lot of police actually died during those attacks, and they were not prosecuted because leftist prosecutors just turned the other way. In fact, prominent Democrats set up funds to bail these people out.
Kamala
So
Harris.
you cannot have
Harris,
one.
right? Yeah.
Yes, you cannot have one set of rules for one group and a different for another group. So even though I disagree with pardoning the most violent people, I also disagree with what happened the prior 6 years.
The thing that pissed me off is that some of those guys were in jail and they hadn't even had a court date yet. It's been 4 years.
That's right. And the only
That's
charges
what
against them were
pissed me
petty crimes.
Yeah, that's what really pissed me off. I mean, that is tyrannical right there. You know what I mean? That's
Oh, yeah.
Constitutionally illegal.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have a speedy,
Right, fair and
trial.
speedy trial.
Yeah,
4
they
years
did
is
it
nothing.
anyways.
Yeah, they didn't even get arraigned.
Yeah.
So.
But again, personally, I think there should have been a division. Well, personally, I think, they went through the court system, and if they were convicted, they were convicted.
No, the thing is, they didn't go through the court system. It was
Well, no, the ones,
delayed.
no, not the ones that are being held in prison. I'm
Oh,
talking about
okay,
the ones
all
that
right.
have already been.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point of pardon, right?
Well,
Somebody who's
exactly.
already been-
Yeah.
The J6ers, that's Guantanamo Bay in America, right there. But
Close.
politically,
Yeah.
Close. Yeah.
We still have prisoners in Guantanamo.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying.
Well, I'm just saying. I think that's amazing.
I
that
thought Biden let them all out.
Guantanamo is still.
He let fucking everybody
Yeah.
else out. Yeah, really. Who the hell, do we even have any
still
prisons anymore?
exists.
Talking about prisoners, man, like we should start I would go into all the violent criminals, right? Maximum security. I'd be like, I'll give you $1,000 and I'll drop you off in Mexico.
Oh, that's not fair to Mexico. What is it?
They've been doing it to us for fucking ages.
Yeah, we should drop them off in Venezuela, Colombia, and Haiti.
Well, there you go. Yeah. That's fair, right? That's fair.
Yeah,
Right?
so I assume I know what I mean. changing course, talking about there are two genders, male and female. You know, all these forms now that have that extra X box on
Yeah.
them.
Oh, I thought that was for the video game.
Yeah, no,
Do I get one-
Xbox.
Do I get one?
Oh,
When I,
yeah,
do I
yeah,
get one when I apply?
Yeah,
This is
right.
a PlayStation box.
No, that was for the Democrats. It said unsure. It meant unsure.
So yeah, so do you think there should be an Xbox on the forms?
Well, I know you said it's redundant. I still have an issue with on the voting ballot that you could just leave it blank. I know you said it's redundant, but I don't think anything should be left blank on any form.
All right, yes,
Right?
you're right. You can, if
it's
you don't want to
open
vote
to-
on a particular issue or person, you can just leave
We
it
had
blank.
that conversation.
Yeah,
we
we
were
should
like, it's
be-
redundant
you think-
to have it there. You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah.
But you should just be like, I'm not educated enough on this issue. I'm not gonna just vote for the sake of it. So I'm checking this box, and therefore nothing can happen to my ballot after that, right? Because trust me,
Oh,
they've
you're
been
worried about, yes,
they've
the
been
deep state. You
they've been
think
dicking with the
someone's
ballots.
going in there and knocking that
Oh,
chat out
okay,
for you.
yeah.
I see.
Yeah, hanging chads and all that
That's
stuff.
kind of
Conspiracy
Right, right,
theorists.
right.
Right.
Yeah. One more on the pardons is the Ross Albrecht. Gee, Kyle!
Was he one of the boys from Brazil?
He got pardoned. He's the guy who started up the Silk Road, right, which is an open market, right? It kind of was. It was a little bit nefarious, right? It was
A little bit.
I mean, like, you know, you could buy pretty much whatever you wanted on there. You know what I mean? But he operated the website, right? Now, some people will say he's a hardcore drug dealer, and some people say he was an innocent guy whose
Platform was-
got manipulated, right? But he spent 10 years in jail.
Yeah.
That's way too long for
Well,
that bullshit.
He set up a website so people could sell drugs and traffic whatever they wanted. He
People.
deserved to be in.
Traffic people.
He deserved to be in jail.
Trump
No,
pardoned him?
I was a big. Yeah, he's out.
Really?
Oh, he's out. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
No, I was a big free Ross guy. You know.
What was his rationalization? Do you know?
He freed everybody else. No, I don't know. I don't know.
It wasn't just a petty crime.
But the people who bombed police stations in Seattle, they're out scot free.
Well, they shouldn't be.
They were never even charged.
They're never in charge.
Yeah.
The Summer of Love, it must have been great love because no one.
Well, I'm
See,
still
I'm
not
too
sure.
old. Summer Love was 1963 for me. Kate Ashbury.
Yeah.
Hey, every summer is love for me, baby.
I'm still not sure that rises to the level of pardoning everybody in your family who was involved in your influence and tax evasion schemes.
For 11 years. Why 11 years? Why not 8 years?
And for future findings too, though.
No, it doesn't come.
Right, for future findings
Well, future
too.
findings from that period.
Yeah.
But the good thing is that none of them can claim the fifth now. So they can be hauled in and asked to testify, and they have to disclose the truth. And they cannot stay silent. And
You
if they
think they're gonna tell the truth?
no, if they tell a lie, now we can charge them.
Now
with
you,
something.
if they get caught in
Yes.
it, right? If they get
Exactly.
caught in the lie,
Yeah.
They can still be brought up on state charges, though.
Oh, sure.
So if they're but, I mean, find a aggressive state prosecutor in any of the states they did business in. California, they're not going to do shit here. You know,
No, of
they're
course not. No.
They'll probably give him a pardon. Maybe Newsom will give him a governor's pardon. I don't even know if we have those here, but
So maybe
Newsom,
we
sorry.
will have
Newsom,
confirmation.
you pronounce his name. We couldn't do the Mexican president's name properly, but at least we can do Newsom's properly.
exactly.
Newsom. Man, how he's not in jail yet, I don't know.
Who? Don Old?
No, Newsom.
Newsom.
Well, what would he be in jail for?
I can't stand
I don't know, like
it.
the guy,
I
but
can't
why would he
stand
be
it.
in jail for?
Well, you've got to audit his tenure. You've got to audit his tenure. His net worth is tripled. I mean, they all do, right?
Yeah.
He's got a $200,000 salary, right? He went in with about 10 million. Now he's got over 30 million in net worth. Just bought a house for 9
He's part of that
million.
whole Pelosi
Everyone who's
family,
been in
Pelosi
Congress for a
Brown,
while
the whole-
and
Trump.
Now they need to get audited.
Trump was already
He was
his
already-
net worth took a hit when he went into office. Biden and Clinton.
That's why
and
he's selling.
Obama,
That's why he's
they
selling
all-
Bibles,
you know,
suit.
That's why he's
That's why he's selling
and tennis
Bibles.
shoes. Poor guy. I feel bad for him.
Cutting up his suit and selling
Yes.
squares of it. You know
But
what I mean?
I'm definitely against investigating the person. Let's investigate the crime, right? If we know that a crime was committed, then let's see, what's involved here. But targeting a person and say, let's find a crime, I mean, that leads down a very dangerous road.
That's like Mississippi in the '60s, finding a person of color and then saying, okay, they must have committed a crime.
Right.
Same thing.
Yeah. I'm not in favor of that.
The pendulum swings back and forth, and I think it's going to swing right now, to a conservative thing. But it's, I think.
It took such a hard swing. I'm dizzy.
Well, yeah, I know, but it's going to come back to the courts and the laws, and like you said, the president does not make laws.
Right.
The Congress does,
Right.
and the Congress is going to have a tough 4 years because they are.
Well, they're going to earn their money this 4 years.
Well, they're going to have to,
Yeah.
or they're going to do nothing. Which is, I mean, the hope is they'll do something.
No, people actually, I think people on the right hope that Congress does nothing. We already have too many laws.
I think, for some reason, compromise is a dirty word, and some people think that it's a dirty word. And I think in a country that is split as ours, that you have to listen to both sides, and you're going to have to come to an agreement.
Our country is not
The
that
best
really
laws
that
are are the ones that no one gets everything. Everybody gets something because that's the way the country is.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But the country is not really that split. For like 85% of the issues, we all are in very close alignment.
Well,
It's
why
just
can't
on the
nothing be done?
fringes. No, I mean we're constantly getting stuff done.
It's
I
the
think.
lunatic
Yeah.
fringe that controls
Yeah.
the government.
Well, bureaucracy ties
Well, they're
things
the
up.
loudest
right?
voices.
Yeah, they're the
Well, yeah.
last ones.
How many guns are there in this country?
I already forgot because I didn't think it was enough
Right.
guns.
Should there be some restriction to who can own a gun and what those guns should be?
If you, you should be able to own a weapon
No.
of your choosing. But here's the thing: America needs to really crack down not on gun control, but criminal control. We're reforming the criminal justice system. The criminal justice system is an injustice to law-abiding citizens, I think. Should there be a background check to make sure you're not, psychotic? There needs to be some checks and balances, right? Because there's a lot of medication out there, and there's a lot of people on them for no reasons, right?
A lot of drugs out
A
there.
lot of
too.
drugs out there. So yeah,
And there's a lot of stupid people out
and
there.
there's a lot of stupid people, but I think at the end of the day, you really need to focus on is, the guy who owns let's say an AR-15 that uses it for long distance target practice, and that's all he does, or she, okay?
Does he happen to live near the border?
Maybe, but then are you gonna make it illegal for that person to own it? They have no criminal history, but then you're not gonna enhance a crime anymore, like in the state of California or in Minnesota, because a gangbanger used the gun in a crime. I mean, we got to bring those harsh realities back to people.
The knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
I agree with you. California does a lot of things wrong, but I think as far as our laws regarding transfer of ownership of a firearm, the requirements
There's
for
plenty of laws.
minimal gun safety knowledge, I think California, on balance, does the whole gun ownership thing fairly well.
It's pretty strict, and it's pretty methodical.
It's stricter than most, right? And it
Yeah.
takes longer too.
It takes longer.
It
You can
takes
still own a
takes longer,
firearm,
yeah.
but you have to, go through a few things.
But I think
Pete, everyone owns guns, right? You own a gun? You have.
Again, no. I have a gun in my closet. I don't even own it. It was gifted to me from my dad. My dad's shotgun because he died.
I loaned it. I loaned it to you, Pete. It's okay.
I don't have any shells in my house.
but then again, by the state of California, do you have it in a safe?
No.
Has to be locked
Has
or
to be
trigger
locked.
lock.
Well,
Or
it's got a lock. Yeah, it's
trigger
locked in
lock,
the
yeah.
case.
Okay.
It's
Okay,
got a,
yeah, you're good.
Or do you have a
It's got-
breech lock in it,
Yeah,
like
there's a
stuff
case
like
lock,
that?
yeah.
And I agree with that because far too many children, they gain access to a firearm. It's loaded. It's not locked. It's kind of crazy.
You know what? That's bad
How careless
parenting.
people are. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's bad parenting.
It is.
That's got fuck all to do with a gun, right? It's just
Yeah.
purely bad parenting.
Yeah, there are other things going on in that
Well,
house.
do you
Yeah.
agree with that? There's consequence for the parents if they just.
Yes, yes.
If they
Didn't
give some-
didn't someone?
Yeah, he did.
Didn't
They
10 years?
give their kid the
They
gun.
got 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Christmas, he'd already been cited for being.
Where was
you
that?
know,
Was that Arizona or
antisocial.
somewhere? Was
I
it?
forgot. There
I don't know. It was.
I forgot.
Yeah, I remember that coming
Yeah,
up.
I don't mind the parents being held responsible for their children when they, leave.
And that's how you
Firearm,
develop
or you
good
gift, or
parenting
you
skills.
leave, yeah, I
Make
mean-
them accountable.
Yes,
You know, make
you
them accountable.
And people used to understand that.
Yeah.
They used to, yeah. No,
Yeah.
Now nobody's.
Get
responsible
off
for
my
their own-
lawn! All
Well,
old guys sitting here like, oh, the kids these
well,
days.
I probably would go farther in terms of the guns that are allowed to be able to kept. I don't think a assault rifle or that type of gun should be allowed to just be in someone's home. I think it's fine if you want to fire that. If you want to lock it up at a gun range or something and go out there and shoot any kind of gun you want. But I'm not sure that I want any kind of gun that's available.
Dude, we shoot them in the desert, man. We don't go to the club and shoot it.
Yeah.
We all go to the
Yeah.
desert, man.
Here's the problem I have with that. The vast majority of people getting killed with a firearm are killed with handguns. And there are far too many inner city, mostly black, young men and boys who are getting killed with handguns, and people don't seem to give a crap about that.
Yeah.
They only care about, if
If an
somebody
AR
gets shot with an AR,
Well,
right?
And it's the strictest gun control city, Chicago, that has the biggest problem where they don't control their criminals.
Well, it's one of the biggest problems. I mean, there are other cities that are far
right.
worse, but
Baltimore.
Well,
But
yeah.
it's all the
Yeah.
same story. It's all the same
Yeah,
story.
it's all the same story where you're trying to control an item rather
Versus
than
the-
Dealing with the social
The
problem.
problem.
Yeah,
the
deal with the
problem.
social problem.
Yeah.
Talking about social, we got social media. Did you guys all? Did you guys all
Boom,
jump?
that's a shit.
Did you guys just jump back onto TikTok all of a sudden after it got banned? Anyone have TikTok? Do you have TikTok? I know you don't.
never had TikTok.
Do you have
Don't
TikTok?
care
No,
Do you have
food
TikTok?
about
I
TikTok.
didn't even.
Yeah, none of us have TikTok, so we don't
so-
give a shit. But you got something to say on this because it's basically Chinese owned, right? And it was all about
Well, it is Chinese owned.
it was all about the
It is.
narrative that
Yeah.
that was getting put out there, right?
Yeah, it is Chinese owned. And ironically, it is banned in China.
Oh, that's hilarious.
you can't use it in China, along with Facebook, Twitter. You can't use any.
It's
US
hard to even get on
social
the
media.
internet in China, right?
Well, anything outside of China. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
China
there
wants
are ways
control.
around it with the VPN,
Yeah.
but that's illegal.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah,
If you get
yeah.
caught, you got problems. And then also, anytime the Chinese government wants, they can collect all that data from TikTok.
Yep.
So whether that's important to you or not, that's debatable. But the thing is that they don't allow it there. We allow it here. So why are we so free and open, and they're so closed, and we just tolerate it?
So I looked up because one of the big issues, right, other than the Chinese ownership, it was the data collection, right? But Google, Facebook, you know who else was really high up on that list? DoorDash for some fucking reason. DoorDash, I mean, data collection. There was loads of firms, loads of businesses and corporations that collect so much data. You know what I mean? If you own a cell phone,
Well,
you're out of luck.
Right,
if you don't,
but-
if you want to stay off the grid, you just
But
can't.
are those
you know?
are those the same things where we use a product that we know is for free, basically, right? Nobody's paying for Facebook. Nobody's paying for X unless they want to, get monetized. or
I
something.
do.
Well, you want to get monetized, right? So these are free things, and of course there has to be something in the company to give it away free, right? So it's advertising. So they want to know what you like, what you're interested in, so they can sell you crap, right? If
Because nothing is for free.
Right. If China collects the information, they want to see how to manipulate you into being anti-American, pro-Chinese. Those are two totally
I
different
thought it was
things.
just so they could give me those Temu ads. Has anyone ever bought anything on Temu?
No.
I haven't, but I see the ads all the time.
I see the ads all the time.
Yeah.
I've never bought.
Why is that?
I don't know.
No,
if
I mean-
I see something on even on social media, if I see an ad and I'm like, looks pretty interesting, I just go over to Amazon or somewhere and I look it up and I'm like, oh, there it is. You know what I mean? And it's like half the price.
Right.
So I just
I
buy
mean,
it on
but
Amazon.
everything. You know, if I go on Google and search, Trump bobbleheads, for the next 3 weeks, I'll be getting targeted ads.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Well, do you have an Apple
everybody's
phone?
watching.
If you even mention it in passing, fucking Apple will start pushing it out at you.
I
For
know.
like a week, you'll get that
Yeah,
same ad.
absolutely.
Like we
Apple,
talked,
that's true about Apple though.
yeah, we
Apple's-
talked about trafficking. I'm sure my iPhone's it's gonna blow up, and then
Right.
NSA is gonna get a hold of me.
It's
and
just listening.
This is the last you'll see me, guys.
One and done, baby.
Guantanamo, here it comes.
We just don't see Kyle like 7 times.
It was
too,
good,
like,
yeah.
It was good, guys.
It was good. It was good while it lasted. TikTok we just did. OpenAI. Anyone got any thoughts on what Sam Altman's doing?
I'm gonna be the first one to say I'm John Connor. I'm gonna fight the Terminator of the AI world. Just kidding.
It's-
You know what?
I'm sorry.
I was
You've
again.
already lost.
Yeah.
It is here.
So-
And it is running your lives.
So they set up OpenAI as a kind of an open source entity, right?
Right.
And not Trump, what's he called? Elon Musk. He threw in like 100 million, right? And it's blah blah blah. And then Sam Altman's been trying to monetize it, right? And he's trying to take over it, and he's trying to monetize it. And then he's just requested $10 billion from Trump.
You're supposed to.
Yeah, $10 billion. Hold on. $10 billion. But yeah, so Musk is way pissed off about it. You know what I mean? So he's been snipping at Altman for a while now about it. So and that's total bullshit, right? You start something as an open source and everything else, and then all of a sudden someone's like starts thinking, I could make some money off this, and they're trying to gobble it up and take control of it.
Everything.
Well, but it's I mean, let it just be, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know the details about that, but for Musk to be pissed off, that's kind of rich.
Yeah.
Because when Musk,
Yes.
and I like Musk, don't get me wrong, but when Musk started Tesla, he said, "Oh, I want to pave the way for other companies to start making EVs." And then when other companies came along, like Rivian and Lucid, then he drove his prices into the ground to try to crush the competition. So come on, give me a break.
Well, he's out there though, right? I mean, but look at the great stuff he's doing, right? I mean,
Oh, he's a very smart guy.
Oh,
But he's
it's-
on the autism spectrum, right? Doesn't he have Asperger's?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
I think he does.
I mean, he's definitely socially awkward,
Socially
right?
awkward,
Yeah. But I think it's because his brain's
Yeah.
just working
I
on
mean,
a different
Tesla's
level.
one thing.
Man. I really do.
I think the strides that SpaceX has made are
Oh, dude, it makes
magnificent.
NASA look like
It's
they're playing
incredible.
in the sandlot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Well, he has that whole theory that I think is really brilliant. The fail fast
Yeah.
theory. He has this theory where if you have this idea, you put it out there as fast as you can, even if you don't have all the details worked out, and you just let it run and it blows up or it fails or whatever, and then you gather so much information by that failure.
That's like me in a nightclub trying to get laid.
Exactly.
So just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And eventually, something
fail
sticks.
fast.
Fail.
Well, that's, Boeing and Lockheed.
And then you have to see a doctor.
Boeing and
Why am I
Lockheed.
always itchy?
They've been spending, a decade trying to develop a rocket, and the whole idea was like the old NASA where you test everything,
A gazillion times.
for decades until
Right.
you got it perfect before you send it up.
Yeah.
And Musk is going,
Boom.
no, let's send one up, see what happens,
And bring it back.
and then
Yeah.
correct it, and it's proved. Yeah, I mean, Falcon 9 flew over 100 times last year. It's going to be over 100. And again, he blew up the first 6 that tried to land, but he finally landed them, and now he's
Yeah,
The
you learn so
cheapest-
much by actually doing something.
by actually doing
Yeah, but
something.
yeah.
Trial and error, right?
Yeah.
It's like race car driving.
I don't know about that one.
that.
I don't know about that
I
one.
don't know about that either.
I mean, not you look at
It was good.
But you look at the early days, like drag car racing.
Oh, yeah, those guys
and
were
NASCAR,
crazy.
They would experiment with the engines and compression ratios that they never did before, and then shit would blow up, transmissions would blow up, they'd kill the guy, and then
they never
that
had-
didn't work.
And those
Never
guys
had
were
the
wearing
same-
like
yeah.
a
Like
a leather cap.
Yeah, a piece of leather on
Yeah,
your head. Like that's gonna
and
save
welding
them.
goggles.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Note to self.
Note to self. I think we've
We've covered everything. I think we've
admirable job.
I think we've covered everything.
today. And look, we're all still standing.
I know.
I think we all failed
Still
fast.
standing. Yeah, we failed fast, right? You know, we failed fast.
Even though,
All right,
even though you got a Trump bobblehead, I will toast you, sir.
Yay.
Because bollocks.
Yeah, bollocks.
Bollocks.
Talking bollocks. All right, thanks for watching, guys. If you liked what you hear, pass it on to your friends. Let's grow this podcast, and we'll see you on the next one. And until then, always have a good drink in your hand. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.